Hi there, my name is David Haddad, and I'm the director of Open mHealth. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about how using Open mHealth to combine a number of different devices and applications to be able to help understand and manage a patient's condition. Specifically, I wanted to talk a little bit about type 1 diabetes and how Open mHealth was used in a recent example at the mHealth Summit in Washington, D.C. To give you a sense of, and really an overview of how this all worked, we worked with a number of open and closed solutions to really help integrate these different applications and devices together. OpenMHealth helped to develop a JSON read API with authentication to access the data stores of each of these different apps and devices in the cloud. And we demonstrated that we can do this by bringing together these valuable data streams very quickly for clinical benefit, and that can actually improve upon a patient and clinician's management of a condition like type 1 diabetes. As you see in the slide here, we worked with a number of different partners. Specifically, we worked with Entra Health Systems with their blood glucose monitor, an A&D scale to measure weight. We worked with Qualcomm Life's TuneIt Hub to be able to pull in the data from Entra and the A&D scale. Those are both TuneIt-enabled devices. We worked with Body Media to understand sleep, Runkeeper for exercise, Photographic Affect Meter, which was to help assess mood, Homage, which measured both mobility, but also food, note-taking. I want to talk to you a little bit about Alex. She's a 23-year-old pediatric nurse at UCLA's Children's Hospital. You know, she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 4, and she's been on an insulin pump since she was about 10. She's been going to the Berkson Meadow Diabetes Camp since she was at 4, and that's where she actually first met Dr. Saleh Ade, who is the co-founder of Green Dot Diabetes. Alex had been having some issues managing her diabetes for a few years and has recently become more motivated and interested in wanting to learn more how to manage her condition. Both as a health practitioner and a patient, she wants to figure out how these various foods and activities are impacting her blood glucose levels, and so we worked with Alex to really help make this happen. Throughout this presentation, we're going to be showing a couple of different visualizations to help guide you through how type 1 diabetes and Open mHealth are being integrated throughout this scenario. And on your left, you'll see that the My Comparisons application that Open mHealth built, that's a patient-facing application that's on the mobile. And on the right, you'll see in a clinical view from Green Dot Diabetes called Blip that shows that is a desktop tablet view that integrates all the various different data streams together in one place that you can conveniently see and have a greater conversation between the patient and clinician. A couple of the technical partners that we worked with in helping to bring together these various different devices and applications together was Entra and the TuneIt Hub. You could see from this slide that we had that Alex was using an A&D scale as well as the Entra glucometer to really bring together her experience between her weight and being able to measure her blood glucose. And it's through this experience that she's able to kind of get a better understanding of how she's improving as a type 1 diabetic. You can see here through the My Comparisons that by connecting the Entra glucometer and the A&D scale through Qualcomm Life's TuneIt Hub, we're able to get near real-time analysis and understanding of how her transmitted blood glucose can be compared to other measures like her weight in this specific application. We can see from the Blip view that by integrating both the NMS insulin pump data, which is the purple triangles that you see up there that's circled, you could see some of the discrepancies between that and how she's and the blood glucose levels that she's getting from the enteroglucometer, and that she's entering these values differently, which is causing some differences in her kind of understanding of how much insulin needs to be released into her body so that she can digest and be active and do all the things that she needs to do during the day, which is a common problem amongst type 1 diabetics, but it's interesting to note it here in real time as Alex is actually using these different applications. We also had Alex use a body media armband, which was used to be able to help track her sleep trends, and you can see from this next slide how these various different applications are sort of coming together, and they're all being stored in Homage. This is just another point that we need to make, is that the My Comparisons view as well as the Blip view are pulling from the Homage data storage, the data store. We can see actually how sleep has an impact on blood glucose from the My Comparisons application, as you see here. Another application Alex used was one called PAM. Stands for Photographic Affect Meter. It's a very interesting application, and what it does is that it uses photos of faces that help to describe a mood that you might be feeling at a specific moment in time. And Alex used this to be able to help understand how mood actually could affect her blood glucose, or how her blood glucose was affecting her mood specifically. And you see in this slide that Alex found that her mood was affected by her blood glucose levels, and her high blood glucose leveled with her lower energy levels and mood. So there's some sort of comparison that you can find there, that which is, one could think that that's quite obvious, but it's always great to see that sort of comparison in one place. Another important aspect of managing your type 1 diabetes is activity. And so Alex had already been using Runkeeper, and so we actually integrated the Runkeeper application into this suite of apps and devices. We could see here in the Blip view how different types of exercise, like running or walking, can actually have an impact on blood glucose levels. And we see here on the left that as Alex runs, her blood glucose levels become a bit higher, and as she walks a little bit more, they get lower. And so you can kind of get to see, or a clinician actually in this specific example, in this specific view, can see how her activity is actually affecting her blood glucose, and can encourage more types of activity to that patient so that they can actually improve their management of their condition. In addition to the other apps and devices, we also integrated Homage Mobility to get a better understanding of how Alex's sedentary states, active states, etc., were being mapped against her blood glucose. We can see with even just a moderate bit of exercise, Alex's blood glucose levels actually get lower, which is quite interesting to be able to understand this correlation, or this comparison of Alex's world and her type 1 diabetes. Here I wanted to show you how all the various different apps and devices are integrated in one place in the Blip data view, which just shows you the power of looking at this in one place to be able to provide better insights and decisions on how to improve a patient's care. So we've been able to integrate all these various different apps and devices into one place, with the help of not just Alex, but also these technical partners being able to provide their servers and their data stores and using the Open mHealth Read API to be able to get to that data and bring it to the My Comparisons application and the Blip application using the Homage DSU. What does this all mean? I mean, we're able to see now from this exercise of bringing these different apps together and working with a real patient and working with a clinician, Dr. Saleh Adi and Dr. Aaron Neinstein, about and understand that through this work we're able to provide increased accountability by aggregating and visualize data that Alex feels more accountable and she could be more motivated to improve and self-manage her care. It improves sensitivity